Hello. This is a commentated run of blueprints in the Throne percent glitchless category, or no major glitches. I've never done this before. This is post commentary. This is not live commentary. I've never done this before for blueprints, so let's see how this goes. If you don't want to watch the commentary run, I will leave a non-commentary video in the description, probably. This is the world record at the time I'm commentating this. I don't know how long that's going to last or how much the run will change and the route will evolve, but for the time being, this is what we got. So let's get into it. The first draft that you do is always going to have a bedroom, closet, and hallway, and in this category I like to take the left hallway because it allows you to get to the garage a bit easier and faster usually. Closet also has some uses as the first draft because you can get sledgehammer or a shovel, and you can get a very quick microchip, which is required for this category, but you can also get those later, so I prefer to start with the hallway personally. Utility closet is the first thing I'm looking for. It's the first puzzle that you want to be solving. This gives you access to the gem cavern, which is required for accessing the blue flames, and you get 2 gems at the start of every day, which is very useful, even though this puzzle takes like some 30 seconds to solve and you have to watch this cutscene, which is unskippable. The 2 gems per day is a worthy reward, so we take this in basically every non-day 1 category, really. Here I get observatory. This is a really good thing that I want to get on day 1. If I don't get this on day 1, it's not like I lose the run or something, but this is something I want to get because you need to get later you also need to get the Southern Cross constellation, which requires the first time it shows up it requires 5 stars, so you need to get some stars quickly, and the observatory is by far the quickest way to get it. So we will want more observatories in later days. The trunk gave me 2 dice and coins. The coins could be useful for outer rooms, so at this point I'm just trying to go to the garage. I got the storeroom to have at least 1 gem in case I need to use a gem for something, but right now it should just be get some dead ends drafted early and then just go to the garage. The idea for garage, it is very important for basically the entire run and any blueprints run, because garage is just the best room in the game, really. You always want to be drafting garage because trading 1 gem for 3 keys is overpowered. And the way that it works is it shows up after rank 4 in the West Wing, and it has a very high chance to show up. It's around 80% or so. Here I got unlucky. This should have been my garage and I didn't get it, so I do a reroll here. It's probably worth it. I could try to go around it by drafting the pantry. On both of the times I used the dice, I could have drafted a pantry, but I figured that it's just faster if I can get a straight room, and I'm very cognizant that I have spare room and corridor. I don't have corridor, but I have spare room in the draft pool and also a bunch of 3-door rooms. And that's just, I know I can feasibly get a room that goes straight. If I didn't, I would not use the reroll. Here I take hovel. Yeah, the order of the outer rooms that I want, the one I want the most is the shrine, so I can get a blessing of the high roller. The blessing of the high roller is just very good because it gives more dice when you draft shop rooms, and having rerolls is the best thing you can have in the game. It's the most powerful tool in the game, just being able to redraw every time you don't like what you get offered. So it's just good for consistency, but the actual win condition comes from the blue flames. So I guess the order of outer rooms is like shrine and then schoolhouse and then hovel. I prefer schoolhouse because it's more difficult to get in later dates, but in this case I had to settle for a hovel. The route for this category, now I'm just going straight to the blue flames in the gem cavern and in the orchard, which I'm also going to unlock. The route for this category, it's basically there's 4 major objectives that you have to get. It's like you have the scepter, the stone, the crown, and the throne, following the poem. And it's very, just like most puzzle games in terms of their design, it's very non-linear. Like the puzzles themselves are independent of each other. So the route sort of tries to make a very non-linear and chaotic sequence of events into a somewhat linear route that you can sort of make a plan for it and then follow it without having to figure out at each step what you need to do and what you don't need to do. This is kind of required for doing a category like this and a run like this, because you just don't, if you come without a plan and you just have all of these objectives that you need to accomplish, like you need the chest power and the treasure trove, and you need to get to room 46. If you don't know how to approach these objectives individually and in which order, then you're going to, it's going to be hell for you to run this. So the route sort of tries to pack these things into an order that makes sense, and that way I don't have to think about it as much, because you also need to, of course, be good at drafting each day. So I hope that made sense, what I'm trying to explain there. Okay, so now the real run starts, basically. Because I got a blue flame on day 1, I am already in condition to get chest power on day 2, so I would need to get the last blue flame, which is the schoolhouse one, and everything required. I need to get all the chess pieces, and this is the approach that I'm going to take. If I got a high roller on day 1, what I would do in this day is I get a blue flame and maybe an observatory. But I'm going to take this is kind of a more aggressive route that I'm taking. So because I need the chess pieces that you need, the nook is always going to be your rook, the chapel is always going to be your bishop, knight can be security and observatory. Security is a bit better for consistency, observatory gives you a star, so it's up to you which one you pick. But the queen and the king are always the ones that are difficult. So for king you need observatory, for king you need office, and for queen you want either her ladyship's chamber, which I will call HLC for the entire run, or study. And because I need schoolhouse outside, I am going for study on this day, because the schoolhouse is, so not all the outer rooms have the same rarity, and that's why I prefer to get schoolhouse on day 1, because schoolhouse happens to be one of the rare ones. Schoolhouse and tomb are the most difficult ones to get, and shrine is more difficult than the other 5, and then the other 5 are the same rarity. Because schoolhouse is not easy to get without rerolls, I want to have a study so I can guarantee that schoolhouse shows up at the end, and I'm going to pick it up at the end of the day. I don't want to get it at the start of the day, because I also, at this point, I don't have any way to get consistent dice because I didn't take the high roller on day 1. So there is a more specific strat to go for HLC, but I'm not doing it. I'm going for the study mainly, and if I happen to get HLC, let's see what happens. But for now, study is the main queen piece that I'm going for. Right now I don't care about anything of that. I'm just drafting, just trying to do proper drafting at the start, so I'm sort of following the drafting volume, the drafting tutorial volume that's in the game, this is the way I usually play, which is by filling up the house in a bottom-up sort of manner, filling up early ranks, backtracking to the other side, and going back and making sure that I always have a path to move forward. This is, my opinion, the most consistent way to draft whenever you need big houses to do difficult things that require multiple different rooms. And some people will take a more aggressive approach where they pick one side and they just go straight up on that side until they can't progress any further. I don't take observatory here, I took drawing room, even though it wastes one of the doors, and there's a very specific reason for this. It's kind of complicated, and I don't want to go too much into detail of how the drafting system works, but basically observatory and office have the same rarity. If you draft too many rooms of the same rarity, the game starts giving you rooms of a higher rarity. So if I draft too many standard rooms that cost gems, the game will start not giving standard rooms that cost gems and instead give unusuals and go to the next deck because the game does separate like different decks based on rarity and whether or not they cost gems. So I want to draft the common gem rooms like commissary and drawing room and security, but I don't want to draft the standard rooms, because if I draft the standard rooms I decrease my chances of getting office, and instead I'm going to get things like foyer and ballroom, I think, and things I don't want for the chess puzzle, and I'm just not going to get the office that I want. So that's that's a very simplified version of what I'm trying to do, and even though observatory would be nice for getting a star, I'm avoiding it because it makes things a bit inconsistent. Music room is already like an unusual, so I got one of a higher rarity there, which I could have drafted, but I chose not to. And the same goes for the study, because it's in the free rooms, which are not rooms that cost gems. I want to make sure to draft rooms that are free on a lower rarity, but I don't want to draft too many of the unusual rooms, although in the study case it's not as important. It's mostly for the rooms that cost gems that you want to be careful. So that's kind of my approach here, so I need to be careful with nursery is another one I could draft. I picked patio because it gives me another door. And yeah, I'm just trying to open up some paths for now. So far I haven't gotten anything I wanted really, so just... I have my knight already with the security, I have the rook, I don't have the bishop yet, which is unusual. Usually you get the chapel much earlier. I think I have a keycard, so I don't need security utility closet, but I take it anyways for... I did not want to take the white room there, and again, these are more rooms that I'm just getting out of the decks and just burning cards in the deck of cards. I'm just hoping to skip to the next rarity, which is the unusual rarity for... Here's the same thing, I don't want to draft Rambo's room because it's a standard room that costs gem again, so I decide to take archives, even though it's kind of annoying. It also gives me an extra path, but it's not exactly the room that you want, because now I have the archives effect. Another thing that I need to get is I need to get a pool and a pump room in one of the two chest days. This is for room 46 later, because I'm going to use the boat route. And okay, so here things get a bit crazy. I get this bedroom going south, and I get an HLC draft here. This draft is kind of crazy, and I solved it very quickly. I just picked the chapel very quickly. Because of what I said earlier, I don't actually want... I can use the HLC, it's perfectly fine, but I do want the study because I want to make sure that I can get schoolhouse, and so HLC doesn't help me that much in that sense. And the other draft was an archive 2 gem room, which could have been the office. It also could have been veranda or music room, and I have no idea what it was. I decided to take the chapel, and I'm honestly very happy that I solved that situation very quickly, because that was a difficult decision. And I think in hindsight what I did is the most consistent approach. Not sure if it's optimal, but it's consistent, and I also needed the bishop still, so I like my decision. Okay, so at this point again I'm just drafting rooms that just trying to open more paths, get more rooms out of the way, hoping that I get what I want. The utility closet that I drafted was also so that I could draft from the dark room. You never want to draft blind out of the dark room unless it's like a very, very extreme situation. 95% of the time drafting blind out of the dark room is an incorrect play. So I took the dark room because I know that I have the utility closet, otherwise I just treat dark room like a dead end, really. Here I got the workshop. I saw that the room was an unusual room because of the 3 dots on top of the archives, so I was like, this could be study. It was not. Apparently sauna shows up as an unusual as well, even though it's actually a standard room. I don't know why it shows us up as an unusual. I make a detector shovel here in case I run into big spots. I can get more keys, but this is probably kind of a time loss. Maybe I should not have done it. But I am low on keys, so having 2 keys is not a lot for this point in the game. So I had the opportunity to make the detector shovel. I'm like, sure, why not? For this point in the day, I mean. So yeah, I just need to hope to keep drafting rooms and hope I get the rooms I need. Here I know that the room on the right is music room because of the rarity. It's not office, so here I'm thinking if I want to take the music room or the servants' quarters, and because I don't need that many keys, and music room also gives me keys, I think music room is the correct play. And it also goes south, so here I could have gotten another HLC draft, and this one I would have taken because the chapel earlier would open up paths. That's why I took it. But I would have taken this HLC if I got it. I did not get it this time. I got a wine cellar, which I think these gems were actually necessary. I was not really looking for them, but I probably did need them. And at this point, I'm good on resources, but the problem is I'm running out of space, and I haven't gotten any of the. I haven't gotten the 2 pieces that I need. So at this point, I'm thinking the run is probably going to die, but we keep trying. I got this file cabinet key, which I happened to luck into. I was not really planning to get this, but at least I can use it. So one interesting thing about this is that because the rooms are ordered by rarity, when you pick 3 rooms, they are ordered by rarity. So I have some information on what the archive floor plan can be. So in that case, I had Great Hall and something on the right. So because Great Hall is unusual, the other room was probably also going to be an unusual or a rare, and it's more likely to be an unusual. So I can pick the archive floor plan, being confident that it's at least in the rarity that I want. I'm just not getting the study, unfortunately, but I am picking rooms that are in that rarity. So okay, so I got office here. I have 2 more rooms that I can draft, and here I do something important, which is I don't pick up. I spread gold, which is not unnecessary, but I don't pick up the gem in the safe, because if you have more gems, the game increases the chance of giving you rooms that cost gems, which is a very subtle drafting mechanic that exists. And because I need the study, and I already have 3 gems, I don't need more gems. And because I need the study, I am keeping my gems a bit lower, so I have a slightly higher chance to get study. And I actually get study here in the very last room I could have drafted. I think this was like 2 rooms away from a full house or something. So yeah, here it was kind of a very long day, but I managed to get the chest power down. And because I'm doing this on chest 2, which is on day 2, which is relatively quickly, because I sometimes do it on day 3 or 4. This is still a decent pace in terms of speed. Not exactly the best thing, the best possible outcome, but the run is alive at least. And just getting past the chest days, it's already good enough, because this category really likes to kill you, to kill your runs. So in terms of upgrades, the first one I got was a hallway, which isn't really that useful. It's like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I picked the trunk. This one is very good though, because getting dice is amazing. This one is not as good as the Geist bedroom. The Geist bedroom is by far the best upgrade you can get. And the difference between the Geist bedroom and the boudoir upgrade is that the boudoir is a standard room and the Geist bedroom is common. So when you start a new day, you can get, if you have the Geist bedroom, you just get the Geist bedroom almost immediately, and you don't even need to use the King's power to get it. You don't need to force bedrooms to spawn. And the amazing thing about having dice, and you're going to see this now basically, is like if you reroll outer rooms, the idea is that you never get repeats on the outer rooms. So if you, let's say I get trading posts on my first draw, I'm not going to get trading posts on my second draw or my third draw, because the game, for outer rooms, the game perfectly cycles between all the rooms until you have seen all of them. Now, because I have archives, in this case, I'm not guaranteed to get the schoolhouse in the first 2 draws, and that's actually what happens. The schoolhouse got archived, and I didn't see it, so I just keep re-rolling until I see it. That's why I also wanted to spread gold, and that's why I bought more gems in the commissary, so I can have more re-rolls in case that specific thing happens. But usually if you don't have archives, when you have 2 dice or 2 rerolls in general, you can guarantee any outer room that you want. And that's why Guy's bedroom is incredibly stupidly good, because you can just pick the Guy's bedroom at the beginning of the day, and then you can just pick whatever outer room you want with 100% consistency. And 100% consistency is a very good thing in this game, so we take it. With the boudoir, what happens if you need to draft a bit further into the house to see it, because it's a standard room, or use the king power on purple. But if you do that, then you don't have the king's power for something else, and sometimes you do need to use it for something else. It's still very good because sometimes you can afford the king's power, and like the boudoir upgrade that gets some uses as well. It's probably still like top 3 upgrades. But okay, yeah, getting good upgrades for this category can break or make the run. So far it's pretty decent luck in terms of the upgrades. So now because I got the schoolhouse, I have access to the precipice with all the blue flames, and now I just need to remember where all of my pieces are. I do usually keep a mental note of some of the rooms, but when you draft a very big house, it's very easy to forget some, especially like the Nook, which you draft very early in the day. You just don't remember where the fuck you put it, so you kind of have to check them up. Sometimes if I have a very short day, I can just remember everything and I don't even need to look at the map. And you start with the rook power. So what you need to do is you need to pick, you need to castle, you need to do the castling chess move. And thankfully you can actually pick the rook power first and then the king's power, which in an actual chess game is not a legal castling move, but here you can do it, and we want to do it in that order because we want to end on the king's power, because the king's power is stupidly overpowered as well. And yeah, if we start with the rook power first for that reason. Now that I have all the blue flames and I don't need a specific outer room, I can actually go for HLC a bit more safely. And there is a strategy that I want to implement here that increases maximizes the odds of getting HLC, because HLC is actually a commonplace room. If you go to the room directory, it tells you that it has a rarity. That's actually not true. The game just straight up lies to you when it says that. Here I'm re-rolling in the corner. It's very important that I have 2 gems here because I could get office, so I need to make sure that I have 2 gems when I'm using the rook power on the corner. I did not get office, that's fine. So because HLC has a common rarity, I want to draft a bunch of common rooms so that I get them out of the decks and they don't compete with HLC in the draws. But I don't want to draft too many of them because of what I explained earlier. If you draft too many of one rarity, the game starts skipping over to the next rarity, and I want to draft HLC at the exact moment where I drafted enough common rooms, but not too many that I skip to the next rarity. That's the idea. This is not going to work, spoiler, because... So here I'm trying again for office. I kind of did this in the wrong order, because, okay, here I take a code check, which is okay, but here I was hoping for a straight room, like a spare room or a corridor, and I didn't get anything. That's also why I started on the east wing, and then I went back here, is so I can make it a bit more likely that I get those straight rooms. But I was not able to get that, and what I should have done, I should have drafted that room for that. I should have drafted north out of the hallway first, and then see what happens. And then if I don't get the straight room in the going north, I can just take an observatory in the corner and just end the day, because I still need more stars, so I can just postpone my chess attempt to the next day. And that's probably what I should have done. Because now the problem is, because HLC you need to draft going south on the west wing. Now I don't really have the correct setup to do it, so I'm just... all of these drafts I just can't get HLC now. So the ideal situation is you draft north of the hallway, then you draft into the west wing on rank 3, and you can get HLC on A2 if you follow like chess coordinates. You go rank 3, then you go south on the west wing, and then you get HLC on rank 2. That's the ideal strategy, and you draft HLC at the exact moment to maximize the odds based on the strategy I mentioned earlier. That's what should happen. I did not go for that. I did not do it correctly here, and I probably should have just drafted an observatory and start a new day. But I'm kind of committing to getting chess on this day now, so I need to either get to the west wing again in a later rank, or I just go for another study. But the problem is, study always requires you to draft more rooms, like we saw in the previous day, so it's kind of a slower strat, really. HLC also gives you an upgrade disc, so that's another advantage of going for HLC. And there's another advantage, which is it seems more niche, but it's actually useful in this category. If you sleep, like if you call it a day in the HLC, you gain a star, because that's the effect of ending the day in bedrooms. In HLC, you gain a star, so that's another reason why you can draft HLC, and after you solve the chess puzzle, you come back into the house and you end the day there to gain a star. And that is a bit of a time loss, but it's useful as a consistent way to gain another star. So for all of these reasons, I should be going for HLC, but now it's a bit more difficult to do it. I take billiard room over dark room there because, again, no utility closet, and I don't want to draft line out of dark room. So, and I took a locksmith, which was a bit risky because that's also a standard room. So I'm kind of was a bit risky to take that, and now I'm taking laboratory because I want to make use of these squares that are in the south area, but. Now, because I took those rooms, I'm kind of compromising the chances to get office, so it's kind of like this was not an ideal outcome. I just took the rooms that were pointing the right ways, but not really happy with what's happening right now. So I get a library here, and library is another way to get study without having to draft too many rooms. The idea that I want to do is I got a lab experiment for adding more dice. It was whenever you draft a bedroom, set your dice to 2. So I want to get more dice before I draft from the library. That's the plan here. So because I have the boudoir upgrade as well, I'm just hoping for drafting boudoir, gaining 2 dice from the experiment, and then another 2 dice from the boudoir. Then I can go to library and hope to get HLC. But I'm kind of afraid at this point that office is not going to show up. So here I just take observatory because at this point I already drafted too many rooms in the standard rarity for gem rooms. So I don't really care. I'm just going to draft them all. And this is of course another star. Also, I do this telescope puzzle now. Ideally you don't solve this now. Ideally you can do this later because later you need to wait for the sacred hour. So if you do this later, you can basically do this without losing time. But I wanted to get this in this day because the 2-star constellation gives you 2 chests, and the 2 chests are it's a very nice reward if you can get it. It's obviously I'm backtracking here, and this is kind of slow, but the rewards are usually very good if you want to get if you want to consistently get the rooms that you need, and the 3 gems that I get here, and the money also matters for something that I want to do later, but the 3 gems are going to specifically help me to get office because I was very low on gems already, and I was actually under 2, so if I got office I would not be able to take it, and that's the main reason why I wanted to go back. The locksmith was supposed to be a backup in case I have a situation like this, but with less keys. But for now I don't need it, so I'm not spending my money on it. That's the boudoir I was looking for, so now I could theoretically try to get study from that library draft, but I decided to wait for a bit more. And I wait for the experiment to trigger to grab the dice, although I guess I also waited a bit longer because I could have grabbed the dice now. But since I'm committing to saving them for our library, I just didn't grab it for now. I just decided to grab it on the backtracking. Here I'm trying to get to the west wing in case HLC is still an option. I did not get a straight path into the west wing. And here I try again, and I got archives, but I don't want to take archives because I also don't have a way to open security doors. So I try to get a better room. I did not get a room going to that side, so I take kitchen. Kitchen is a common room, so I take it out, hoping for an office. And I think I actually get the office in this one. Yeah, I get office here. I could have tried to draft into the west wing here. For some reason I forgot about it here. I was very fixated on getting the library into study combination. If I failed to get the library, I probably would have gone back here. But because I also don't have any keys, I figured I'm probably going to be locked anyways, so I can't really do this. And I once again, I specifically didn't pick up the gem from the safe, and I'm not picking up any gems because I want to stay at 0 so that I have the best chance to get study from the library. And I think from library that actually matters more. From normal drafts it's not that significant. I think it's a very small increase in probability, but from the library I think it's a very hard-coded thing. Like if you have 0 gems you only get 1 gem room or something, and if you have more you get 2. I think it's something like that, so having 0 gems here is kind of important. So, and with 0 gems and 4 dice, I'm fairly confident that I'm going to get the study here. And takes a few attempts, but I get it. So here I'm picking up, I picked up a gem. I don't think that was necessary. I have 2 rerolls for the outer room, which I do want an outer room specifically, and this is a very interesting one because I'm actually going to pick, I have exactly 33 coins. I could probably pick up more because I spread money, but 33 is exactly the number I want because I want to get a 5-day Blessing of the Dancer, and that's very specific, but there's a very good reason why it's specific. I'm also code checking the sledgehammer that I picked up way earlier. I already broke the base for the microchip, and I'm putting the sledgehammer in the code check, and this is going to be used at the very end of the run to get the effigy from the shrine, because you need a sledgehammer there. So that's why I'm putting the sledgehammer in the closet in the code check. And now with the dice that I have, I can get the shrine. If you don't have rerolls, if I don't have rerolls, what I like to do is I wait until I get the King's Power, and then I can use the King's Power on blue and increase my chances to get shrine on the same day. It's kind of annoying because you have to take the elevator back up, and the elevator is very slow, but you can actually do that if you really want the blessing. And this blessing is actually useful for a lot of things. I kind of got screwed in the run and I didn't manage to use it fully, but I'm still going to explain what it did and what it's supposed to do, basically. So yeah, right now this is kind of a slow pace in terms of where I'm at in the run. I know in my splits it's like I'm going to be ahead by like 4 minutes, but the problem is I only have 2 stars. Usually I like to have 4 by this point, so I can already get my Southern Cross constellation in the next observatory draft. And the fact that I only have 2 is kind of annoying, and that's why I probably should have gotten an observatory when the HLC strat didn't work earlier in this day. So now I'm going to have to spend more days to get more observatories. And the idea is I want to get 2 more stars in 1 day so that my blessing lines up. Because usually I take a 4-day blessing. Here, because I had the money, I managed to take a 5-day blessing, and I'm going to need that extra day because I need to spend an extra day to get stars so that everything lines up. The idea is I want the Dancer blessing for room 46. For the room 46 day, and then I want the blessing to last for the day after room 46. That's kind of what I want to line up here. But yeah, in order for that to work, I need to get 2 stars tomorrow, ideally. And so the plan is to get observatory and then to get HLC, and by calling it a day in HLC, I get another star, and that leaves me with 4 at the end of the day. That's the idea. Alternatively, I could try for a lab experiment, maybe, but usually I don't rely on lab experiment too much. We do have a strategy for the lab experiment, which I didn't do in this day. Basically, there is a way to reroll the experiment triggers and effects that you get. I don't think I do it in this run at all, but I could have done it potentially to get a star. Like, basically, you can actually cancel the experiment before the text finishes rolling in, when it starts showing you all the triggers and experiments. And then when you re-enter the computer, you get new experiments, you get new triggers and effects. That's the strategy. I didn't do it in this run, I'm just talking about it because as a bonus, I guess. So here I'm just trying to find an observatory, really. I drafted the Nook on the left of the entrance hall, and the idea is that once again I want to draft a room that goes straight up so that I can turn around and draft the HLC, hopefully in rank 2. So I'm trying to do the same strategy again that I couldn't make work last time. But I'm drafting on the East Wing first to get some rooms out, and also to hopefully get an observatory as well. Usually observatory shows up despite being a standard room because of something, there's something called conditional filters, where basically certain rooms can be offered before the game picks a rarity and before the game starts rolling depending on the rarity. Some rooms just have a hard-coded percentage chance of being offered to you, and when you use the King's Power, that's the most obvious case, where like if you use the King Power on like green, for example, all of the green rooms have this percentage of this is going to be like a 25% chance of this room appearing despite the rarity that the room has and despite everything else that happened. The observatory and the commissary both have a 13% chance, I think, and that is completely independent of what you did in the day. It's just always that chance. So that's why observatory tends to show up despite not being a common room. Unfortunately, I didn't get anything here. This day is the one day in the run that went badly, really, because I wanted to get both stars, and spoiler, I'm not going to get what I wanted. So I ended up drafting into the West Wing from this side, which is not what I expected, but I got it, so I'm like, okay, I have more options to get HLC. I get office instead of observatory, which is ridiculous, especially given how long it took me to find it in the last 2 days, and now I just don't get the observatory when I want it. And this door is locked now, so I can't really draft from this side, and I wanted to get keys here from the billiards, which I skipped it initially so I could save time. Now because I'm locked, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to get some keys, and of course it gives me a key card. By the way, this trick I do with the, okay, one thing at a time. Here I get both HLC and observatory because the game is just mocking me, and I don't really have more options to get HLC if I pick observatory, so I just pick one and cut my losses, I guess. I guess it didn't matter which one I picked. In the billiards puzzle, there's a trick that I do where you like, if you press escape on, I'm playing on keyboard and mouse. If you press escape, you can leave the dartboard puzzle and you can potentially resume it later. But the idea is that you can do that when you finish the puzzle, and before the dartboard rises, you can actually move, which normally the dartboard kind of locks you in place. And the idea is that you can pick the reward through the wall, on the wall on the left, because the dartboard itself prevents you from picking up the reward, but the walls around it don't block you, so you can just do that. And that's a very common trick in especially day one runs, where it's a much shorter run, so it saves a lot of time to do that. So yeah. I got my observatory there. I got it very quickly, so now I'm up 4 stars. And now this is the day that we call it the court day. This is the day where we want to go down into the castle area, and we want to. The idea is that you wait until the in-game clock is 1:30 p.m. and this happens after around 40 minutes. 40 minutes is actually more like 39 and a half, 39:30, something like that, in terms of real time. So this is a very long wait, and there is no way to skip it, so this is kind of a big auto scroller. And usually the safe way to play this is because you need the Southern Cross active to do this. And so the safe strategy here is usually to just try to get an observatory without using the King's Power. And then once you have the observatory and the Southern Cross active, you can draft a tomb outside, and you can force the tomb to spawn by using the black King's Power. So in the outer room, if you draft inside the house, the King's Power is, like I said, a percentage chance for each color. In the outer room, it's just a guaranteed. So if I pick the black color in the outer room, I just always get tomb in the very first slot, like in the leftmost slot. And that's usually just the safe thing, is you find an observatory, then you draft tomb, and with the tomb drafted you can basically solve the entire underground section. Like you do the angels puzzle in the tomb, and then you can do the rotating gear puzzle, which I can access because I drafted a pump room during chess 1, during the first chess set. I glossed over it because there was too much happening. But I did the pump room and I drained the reservoir by 1, so the boat is active. That's the safe strategy. Now here I'm doing something much riskier because my pace is not very good. I'm supposedly 4 minutes ahead according to my live script, but I'm actually going to lose time because of the fact that I didn't have all the stars. I'm actually going to be just equal with my PB if I get through the court day. So and because my time save was mostly at the beginning, so I'm trying to play kind of aggressively as an effort to save this run because it's not as fast as I would like it. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm using the blue king, and I am trying to potentially get to room 46 while also doing court day. That is extremely difficult. I never managed to pull it off, and like it's extremely difficult because you also need to end at 000 in terms of resources. It's like you need to end with no inventory, so no keys, no gems, no coins, no dice, and no special items. The special items I don't really care. You don't really need to pick them up for anything, but ending with 0 resources is tricky because there's no easy way to spend the resources. That's one of the reasons why I wanted the Blessing of the Dancer. So it gives you a consistent way to spend resources, the gems at least. I also got a study, so it's not going to matter here. I got a very quick study thanks to the blue king. But yeah, because sometimes you run out of spaces to draft rooms and then you kind of get screwed because you don't have a way to spend your keys and your gems. So what I'm doing here is extremely risky. Even if I don't get room 46 though, there is some progress that I can make thanks to the blue king. Particularly with blue king I can get boiler room, and then from boiler room I can start drafting a bunch of rooms that have power ducts, power ducts. We call them duct draws. I'm going to call them power draws because it's easier for me to pronounce, but duct draws is the more commonly used name. But the way that this works, I think I get the boiler room here, if I remember correctly. Yes. So the way that this works is if you have a room that has power ducts, and the room doesn't have to be powered, and this is a very common misconception that people have, like the room doesn't have to be powered for this to work. If you have a room that has power ducts, then when you draft a room, the game is more likely has a chance to give you what they call power draws or duct draws, or I don't know how it's called internally, but that's what we call it at least. And this actually bypasses any conditional filters. Like it's a higher priority than conditional filters. So even though I have the blue king, thanks to I got a chapel here, which is not supposed to happen, but usually you don't get anything but blue. But with duct draws, you can actually get rooms that are not blue. For example, like passageway or weight room, archives, furnace. The idea is that if I power the boiler room here, that actually increases the odds of duct draws happening, but they can actually happen before the room is powered. And if you play this game casually, you probably notice this. If you have a dark room and you draft out of the dark room and you get a furnace and you don't understand what's happening because the furnace is supposed to be rare, that's because duct draws are happening. The exact way that this works is that there are some of the duct rooms are connector rooms, which are basically the rooms that transfer power but don't actually use the power. For example, security, passageway, weight room, archives, dark room. And then you have the actual power rooms, which are like boiler room, laboratory, and then a bunch of dead ends that don't matter. And the idea is that here I can only draw connector rooms, so here I get passageway, weight room. But now I have now that I'm drafting from a connector room, I can get actual power rooms, like garage I get here. And this garage is actually useful because I don't have a utility closet, but thanks to the power I can I can open the door, which might be the first time I've ever done this and actually made it useful, because usually this is not useful. Although I guess I got utility closet here, but thanks to the garage being powered, I don't need a utility closet, so I just reroll, hoping for, because I didn't want to take the weight room, so I was hoping for the laboratory here. I need to unlock Black Bridge. That's the only reason why I'm doing this, is because I need Black Bridge for unlocking throne room. Now I do get the observatory here, and this is important because I needed the observatory, and because I have the blue king, the 13% chance for the observatory filter, which I talked about earlier, is now competing with the blue filter. And even though observatory is also there, because there are so many blue rooms, my odds of observatory actually go down, which is why this is risky. Here I get the laboratory finally, so I think here I'm deciding if I want to rotate it because it's pointing the same way as the other one of the other room, but in the end I just take the laboratory as it is. I'm kind of taking my time here because this, like I said, is an auto-scroller. Everything here is waiting on a timer, so actually maybe I should be taking even more time than I'm taking, but this, to be honest, my decisions were not that difficult on this day, I think, so... Okay, so here I get Blackberry. This cutscene is skippable, unlike the utility closet one, for some reason. Now I'm really thinking about what I want to do. The idea here is that I'm looking at my resources. I have the garage keys, I haven't picked them up yet, and the only door I can draft from is the boiler room door. And I'm trying to think if there's any way that I can actually get to room 46. If I don't get to room 46, this is already a very successful court day. This is way more than I usually get. Having a boiler room in general just also means that I can add treasure trove as well, which is also something that I need to do. I need to get to the treasure trove area. And usually the way I do this is after court day, I do room 46 with the blue king, and I get exactly this. I get like the boiler room and the laboratory. Here I'm trying to see if there's a way to get to room 46 today, which would be insane, and it's kind of difficult to do because I'm already low on gems. I have 2 gems. I need 2 gems to get tomb outside because I have the blue king. The first draw is going to have only blue rooms, and so I cannot get tomb on the first roll. This is kind of like if you played day 1 on old patches. There was this thing where you couldn't get tomb on the first roll, and you absolutely needed dice, and this is basically the same situation. I need 3 rolls for tomb here. So here I'm drafting. The only thing I get going north is this dark room, which I don't have a utility closet from. So this is a situation where if I want to keep the day going, I need to take this dark room, and if I take the office, I'm just down to 1 gem, which is not going to give me tomb probably. And there is no guarantee that I can get more gems. So here, dark room is the safe play by far, and it's also not a bad play at all because I can send power to the dark room and I can sort of gain information, and it's also going in the direction I want. So if I want to try to get room 46, the only viable anti-chamber lever is the Mechanarium one, which I haven't even added to my deck yet. I still don't have the Mechanarium, but I can add, and I am supposed to get the Mechanarium floor plan when I get Tomb. So here I'm kind of trying to calculate different scenarios. I do have the dining room in rank 2, so the idea is that I want to draft from the dark room, step into rank 8, and then I can have the dinner ready. And when I backtrack to the tomb and do the entire thing, I can also eat there to make sure I have enough steps to do everything. And if I get the correct room out of the dark room, I can actually continue and hopefully get Mechanarium above the laboratory, and that would be the perfect situation, because then I can just get into the antechamber from there with the Mechanarium lever. That's the idea here. It's very unlikely to happen, and if it doesn't happen, once again, it's okay, because I got so much done on this day, but I'm trying to calculate what's the best way to make this happen. And the Southern Cross, usually it's kind of bad to pick that, because the Southern Cross opens another conditional filter, which is for 4-way rooms, and unfortunately I don't think it includes the Mechanarium. It does include things like archives and weight room, and it's very tricky, because if I pick the archives, if I pick the weight room, I need to calculate if I have enough steps or not. I think I do. That's one of the reasons why I'm spending so long here, is because I want to see if I have enough steps to do this. So here I'm activating the filter, because I haven't looked at the constellation yet, and I need to do this eventually, but I want to see if the 4-way room happens to be useful here. Because I can't see, I'm just trying to guarantee that the room I draft is a 4-door room, something that goes to the left, really. So this is locked, so now I need to pick up the key. It's very important that I pick up the key now, because if the door happened to be unlocked, then all of a sudden I have a key in my inventory that I might not be able to get rid of. So... funnily enough, the garage opened, even though the power was sent this way, which is no, I just noticed that. I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. So I guess you don't need to send power back into the room. That's kind of lucky, because I just now noticed it. Okay, so here I get this draft, which I can't see anything, but the interesting thing is that the room on the left is powered and the one on the right is not. And because of what I said earlier, that when you draft something, the rooms are usually sorted by rarity, so I'm trying to figure out which of the two rooms has a higher chance to be something that goes to the left, basically, because the powered room can be furnace, archives, or weight room. So again, I need to calculate if I can afford to take the weight room. In fact, I can, but I need to actually count to see if I can reach the dining room and then how many steps I have. I know that the dining room has the fish, because the meals in the dining room are actually on a cycle, so you can actually predict what you're going to get based on which day you are. And I'm on day 6, which is 5 after day 1, and day 1 always gives you a fish, and there are 5 meals in the dining room and they cycle. So that's something I know, and based on that information, I know that I can afford a weight room. That's very important game knowledge in this case that I happen to make use of. So if I get the weight room, that could be okay. I could still get ruined by a security door, so everything is up to RNG, really. I'm just trying to figure out if there is an objectively correct choice. And again, because I have so much time, I need to wait for the sacred hour. I'm just thinking through all the possible scenarios. But yeah, spoilers, I'm not going to get the god draw. If I did get the god RNG here, this run would be a lot faster. But yeah, I don't get the god RNG. I'm also not sure, because I think the whole thing about rooms being sorted by rarity doesn't quite work when duck draws are happening. I don't remember exactly how that works. So it's possible that the room on the left being a furnace doesn't mean that the room on the right needs to be something of higher or equal rarity to the furnace. It's complicated, honestly, and this almost never comes up. This only came up because I have so much time to think about it. Usually I just don't think about it. I just make an vaguely informed decision and I just pick a room, I guess. Or I just don't draft the dark room, but in this case I have to. So yeah, spoilers, I'm just going to get a furnace here and I'm just going to immediately dead end. But like I said, that's okay, because this doesn't matter. I already got most of the things I got more than the minimum already. So now, because I got Blackbridge, I have the 3 microchips available, because I got the shovel on one of the first few days, and then I got the sledgehammer as well. So now with all 3 microchips I can add the throne room now. And again, every single thing that I can pack into this day is a time save, because this day is just going to be slow regardless. I need to wait regardless. So being able to pack multiple things into this day is amazing. So I can get the throne room added, I can go down the tomb. Getting the tomb is actually not guaranteed, even because I have 2 dice, but because I need to end with I have 2 gems and the study. So because I need to, here I'm going to set up the boiler room to get treasure trove, basically. Because I need to get, I need to have 0 gems, so I need to get tomb on the second reroll. It cannot happen on the first reroll. If it happens on the first reroll, I actually just cannot draft the tomb, and I need to reroll past it, because it would screw up my here I forgot to hit rank 8, so that's why I'm going back. Luckily I have enough steps, so this mistake didn't matter. Yeah, I need to get tomb on the second reroll, basically. Luckily, because tomb is more likely to be on the second reroll than on the first, because of the thing I mentioned, that like the tomb is the hardest outer room to get, as well as the schoolhouse. So the tomb is the most likely to be on the second reroll, but there's still like I don't know, 20% chance maybe that I get screwed here. So it's kind of up to RNG here really. Of course because I'm posting this run, I did get lucky and I got the tomb on the second reroll. It's kind of a reverse day one situation where in the old patches you needed to, if you had only one die, you needed to get tomb on the first reroll. Here it's the opposite, I need to get it on the second for the run to succeed. I could just not take the tomb, but then I would lose time on the room for the 6th day. And now I'm just getting the microchips and eating in the dining room. Again, I know that this is going to be fish, so thankfully I could predict that based on the day cycles. And at this point I don't have that much I need to explain, because I think most of the things that happen here are self-explanatory. There's nothing speedy happening. I'm still waiting for the sacred hour, so I just need to solve everything underground. And I can grab these microchips because I'm going to get rid of them by depositing them into the Black Bridge grotto area, so this doesn't actually ruin the sacred hour thing. I also grabbed the upgrade disc here in the tomb, not in the tomb, in the underground area. And it's very important that you do that. If you're going to grab this upgrade disc, you make sure that you have a computer. I actually have the Black Bridge one, which I could use to deposit my upgrade disc, but I forgot to use that one for some reason. I just went to the laboratory one, which is also close by, but since I'm going to the Black Bridge one, I should not have done that, I guess. So the things that you want to get done here, you need to, if you have the boiler room, the ideal situation which I have, you just add the treasure trove, and in order to get treasure trove, you need to do the slowest gear side solution, the rotating gear solution, which is to raise the gear to the next level, you know, because you can raise the gear to the other level, which you need to do for treasure trove, and you only do it for treasure trove. Any speedrun category where you don't need to add the treasure trove, you don't want to do this solution because it's the slowest one by far. There are much faster solutions for example, in the normal day one B quest run, you just don't even move the minecart usually. You just go to the boat, and then you come back and you enter from the other side of the minecart without touching the minecart at all. Here, because I need to add treasure trove and mechanarium as well, it's actually faster to pull the minecart back. Speed doesn't really matter because I'm waiting, but I'm doing this for the sake of efficiency. So yeah, this is the slow solution, which is raising the gear and then coming back. And yeah, you need to do it like this. I think the mechanarium is not strictly required for the category, but it's just, mechanarium is just a good room because it usually gives you multiple paths and it gives you an anti-chamber lever, and the anti-chamber lever, it's super realistic that you actually end up using it. It's a very good one in my opinion, especially if you use, in my standard route I usually use it for the blue. So when I do room 46 I usually do it on Blue King because I want to get Black Bridge and Treasure Trove. In this case I'm going to do Orange King actually because it's a bit faster. But if you wanted to do Blue King, having the problem with Blue King is you don't have anti-chamber levels usually, so you need to get a secret garden key, which usually shows up because you have a billiards, you have music room, you have attic, so you have a decent chance to get secret garden key. But if you don't get secret garden key, you have to have mechanarium as a backup. And both of them are west anti-chamber, which is nice because at least you know where you're going to head if you want the anti-chamber lever, if you want the anti-chamber entrance, I guess. So it's just a good idea to add the mechanarium, and there's no reason not to, especially because I'm on the court day, so I need to wait anyways. I already said this like 6 times, I'm very sorry. I love how the music stops here. I never actually realized that's what happens. Like it's building up for you reaching the north level for the first time, and then you reach this area instead. You just ignore the north level. But yeah, in this case I'm going to do Orange King, which is the hallway king for room 46, because I can actually afford to do that, because I have Black Bridge, I have Treasure Trove, and I also have, very important, that I have a dice upgrade, which is the Boudoir one. Because the other advantage of doing Blue King is that you almost always get Stabby as a part of that, and with Stabby you can guarantee that you get the tomb, and you can guarantee that you get north level access. Because at this point, once I solve this gear side puzzle once, these rotating gear ones, I no longer need to access this side of the reservoir. I can already reach the north level by accessing either side once. And that's the nice thing about it, is that you don't need to access both sides, basically. So now, just by drafting Tomb, I get access to the north level for any point in the run. And if I wanted to be real careful about it, I can maybe drain the fountain, and then I don't even need Tomb, but I'm not really doing this here because it's kind of slow and you need to find another pump room, so there's no reason to do it. But because I have a dice upgrade, I can actually do something that's not Blue King, and I can still guarantee that I get the tomb. So, alternatively, I could find a foundation, but that's much harder to do. I think I got off for the foundation at one point, but I skipped it because I was looking for something else. I think it was during the day that went to hell. I think it was day 4. But usually for this run, for this route, I don't usually bother with basement access. I just do pull and pump room and just draft the tomb whenever I need it. That's usually the most consistent way to get access to this area. Unless you go for like a power hammer on day 1, but that's slow. So yeah, at this point there's nothing really to do. I just need to go back, and I need to use the upgrade disc, and I need to add throne room. I guess that's what I need to do yet. So after doing that, I just have all of the conditions, and I just need to wait for the sacred hour to happen. Usually at this point in the run, I'm trying to plan ahead for what I'm going to do in future days, because even though I try to linearize this route, I don't know if that's a word, I try to make this route as linear as possible, so that I don't need to think on the fly about some things. At this point, there are some things that are going to be different, like do I have Black Bridge, do I not have Black Bridge, do I need Treasure Trove or not, what upgrades do I have good upgrades or bad upgrades, how many microchips do I have, stuff like that. So because of that, I need to be, at this point in the run, I'm usually planning for what I'm going to do in the future days, and I do have general strategies planned out, but sometimes I want to make some small deviations based on things that went well, things that didn't go well. So in this case, something that didn't go well is I wasted a day because of the situation with the observatory earlier, and because of that, the blessing that I got is not going to work exactly the way I wanted it to work. I'm going to explain that after I get to room 40 or during room 46. So at this point, I'm thinking about all of these things, and during the sacred hour while I wait, I'm usually thinking about that as well. I got the Nook upgrade. That's also one of the best ones because of it gives you access to the morning room, which is one of the most overpowered rooms in the game as well. It's kind of like Garage in the sense that it has a very high chance of showing up at a very specific spot, and again, things that show up consistently in this game are just very powerful, and the room itself gives you 2 gems today and 2 gems tomorrow, and it doesn't even cost a gem, so it's extremely strong. Not to mention that it gives you another upgrade disc for free. So here I added throne room, and that's the last thing I'm doing here. And now I just need to go back to the chess area and wait. Even with how slow this day was, I still have like 10 minutes to spare, so there just aren't any good ways to make use of the entire 40-minute wait, really. Especially with the restriction that you need to end on 000 in terms of resources. During all trophies, you have to do the other Sacred Hour puzzle, which is the Clock Tower one. And that one you can actually use your day better because the days are longer. You can actually fit more objectives into that. But this one, because it's more linear, it's just, you don't have that many things to do. The biggest thing you can do is just room 46, and it's not easy to get it, as you saw. I got very close here, but still, I was still not even that close. I still needed a bunch of things to go right before making it work. Okay, there's nothing I need to talk about here. I'm just filling time, so I'm just going to see you back when the Sacred Hour ends. I'm probably going to leave a timestamp in the description if you want to skip to it. so I'm back. The sacred hour should hit in about 15 seconds or something. The idea here is as soon as the clock reaches 1:30 in game, this clock in the tomb starts rising, and the moment that happens, you can actually just end your day. Like here, the second I start hearing the sound effects, I just end my day. The idea here is that you can actually, whenever you come back into that area, the clock is going to be there, like the puzzle is going to be there for you to solve. The game just remembers that you did the thing with the sacred hour and you don't need to do it again. That's not the case with the clock tower puzzle, like the room, the clock tower. Because for that one, after the sacred hour hits, you need to actually do the thing inside on the same day, otherwise you have to wait for the sacred hour again. But thankfully that's not the case here. And because we don't have the monk treasure trove yet, there's no reason to do the clock puzzle at this point, so we just end the day, and the idea is to come back in a later day. So now on this day we want to get into room 46, which is required for a couple of objectives, because we need to go in there twice for the crown, and we also need the Mount Holy gift shop. So I set the king on orange at the start of the day, as I said I would, and I usually don't do this, so you usually don't have the luxury of doing this strategy, so I'm not that used to it, but the idea is very simple, really. It's pretty easy to play. Here I use the Blessing of the Dancer. That's the other reason why the Blessing of the Dancer is good. It's just a very convenient thing to have when you want to get into the antechamber. It's like so many times you want to get into the antechamber and you get screwed by one room going the wrong way, rotating the wrong way, and just having the Blessing of the Dancer is a very nice safety anchor, really. So that's why, like, setting up that very long blessing has a bunch of different effects, which is nice. And that's why it's basically part of the route. If you don't get it, you can always get around it by doing different things, but it just helps a lot to have it. So yeah, with the Orange King, the idea is very simple. We want to draft a Great Hall, Foyer to unlock the Great Hall. Foyer, whatever it's supposed to be pronounced. Very difficult word for me. And then you just unlock everything, and you just go to the east side of the antechamber, and because the hallways have so many doors and so many forward doors as well, it's usually a very simple way to get into the antechamber. And it's actually quite fast as well, and that's why we pick this. You want to pick this over the Blue King if you can. Usually you can't, because you need the Blue King for other reasons as well. At least with this route that I'm usually using. But because I got everything done during court day, and because I have a dice upgrade, I can just use this. And again, all of these rooms just go north very easily, which is nice. And I'm also getting decently lucky with some well-positioned rooms like the chapel there. Here I was hoping for something like a storeroom, but I just took the Great Hall and I left it there. There's no reason to pick up those coins. That was kind of a waste of time. Even the storeroom is kind of an unnecessary safety play, because I have mostly everything. The only thing I don't have is a foyer, but now I'm going to get it from the secret passage. And because I already have the corridor and I think I have the aquarium, maybe I don't, but basically it kind of forces the game to give me the free foyer, which is funny because you get the free foyer and you have the corridor in there, but that's because the corridor, I think I already drafted the corridor. Yeah, I think I drafted it on rank 1 or something, so that's why I think the game gets confused. It's basically the basic explanation. I don't actually know how the prismatic things work. So yeah, here I'm just getting good rooms that go north. I also have a compass that I got from the mail room. So, and here I get the boudoir, which happens to be going into the antechamber, which is very nice. If it didn't, I just rotate it with the dancer, so it's fine. But I was really just drafting for the 2 dice. Like, I can also get into the antechamber later. I don't need to secure a path into the antechamber. But I got the 2 dice and it happened to be just when I got into the antechamber. I decided to draft one more room hoping for a terminal, and I did get a terminal. That draw that I got from the passageway is the definition of a duct draw. If you want to see the example, it was like furnace, security, laundry room. All of those three are rooms with power ducts, and like furnace and laundry room are not supposed to show up there because they're too rare. So that was exactly an example of a duct draw happening even without power. And that's also the reason why I drafted from the passageways. I was hoping for either security or laboratory, which can both show up as a duct draw. I think the security showed up normally there, but that also makes sense because it's a common room. So yeah, at this point I just opened the antechamber, and I need to draft Tomb outside and pull the north lever. It's basically just the next 3 minutes. I'm just running from A to B and back. On the next day, after I get to room 46, which at this point is already guaranteed because I have the path into the antechamber. On the next day, the first draft that you do after you reach room 46 is hard-coded to have a Mount Holly gift shop in the draft. And in an ideal situation, you can actually make use of this scripted draft because the Mount Holly gift shop is an unusual room, I think. So it's not trivial to get it unless you use something specific. The plan the thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to draft the Mount Holly gift shop, use the king to get a boudoir for 2 dice, then use the 2 dice to get shrine, and then I was going to steal the blessing that I have for 33 coins and use the money from that to buy the curse coffers. So the idea is that the curse coffers, the way you're supposed to add the curse coffers is you draft a bookshop, you buy the Curse of the Black Bridge book, which is like 40 coins or something. It's really expensive for this point in the game. And then when you read that book, it actually adds the curse coffers for the Mount Holly gift shop. For some reason that I don't understand, and I assume this is a bug because to me this makes no sense whatsoever, you can actually add the curse coffers to the gift shop by stealing money from the shrine, which curses you, and then you need to click on the cursed icon in the blueprint. And when you click on that icon, it adds the curse coffer to the Mount Holly gift shop. I have no fucking idea why that happens. I assume that's some sort of bug. I don't even remember how we discovered it. That's like the most WTF discovery in this run, and I have no idea how we know about it, but we do. And it's actually a really nice thing because drafting the bookshop and doing all of that would be a pain. So it actually makes the coffers the easiest of the 4 components that we need to do for this run, which is nice because it's just very easy to get them in the Mount Holly gift shop. So the idea was that by stealing the 33 coins that I put in the shrine, I was going to get both the curse to spawn the curse coffers and the money to buy them, and I would have the Mount Holly gift shop because I just reached room 46 for the first time. Unfortunately, because I wasted a day, the blessing runs out today, and so I can't do that strategy. So instead, as I was waiting for the sacred hour and doing all of this, I was trying to come up with a backup plan. And so the idea is going to be that I'm just going to curse myself with a basic 1 coin blessing. Because another plan was if I got a storeroom upgrade or an aquarium upgrade, those would give me 10 coins. There's like the goldfish aquarium and then the storeroom upgrade that gives you more coins. And with that I can use that to buy the curse coffers because those are... the storeroom is common, and the aquarium, because it's every color, it will always show up with the king's power. So that's the idea. I was hoping for something like that. I ended up getting, I think, a nursery upgrade or something that's just like useless. So because I don't have a quick way to get money for the curse coffers, I need 13 coins. I decided to just curse myself in this day, which I can just do with the allowance. I picked up an allowance token during the court day, which is something again you want to do because there's no time loss from it. And I'm going to use that allowance to curse myself in the shrine, and that's going to be basically my entire day. And I can buy the curse coffers later. I do have a plan for it, which I will show very soon. So yeah, I do purple king for the 2 dice in the boudoir, and that guarantees the shrine. If I didn't have a dice upgrade, the way to do this is you just go to the outer room and you put the king on blue. The problem is that because you have 4 blue rooms, there's a 75% chance only to get shrine, so you could get screwed and you get all the other blue rooms and not the shrine. So that's why I decide to put the king on the bedrooms, and so I can get the dice, and that's more consistent. So here you can see I get curse, and then I need to click on the icon now, and that's necessary to spawn the coffers, otherwise they don't spawn. And now I can just end my day, and I'm also going to end the next day because I need to. The next step is to get the blessing of the monk for the treasure trove, and obviously you can't get blessings while you're cursed, so I need to end the day to get rid of the curse. If I didn't have throne room added to the deck, I would do it now, because it's kind of the only thing that you can do while you're cursed that doesn't immediately. If you try to play while being cursed, it just doesn't work. You just lose too many resources, especially if you use the king's power and then you get aquarium, which takes away every resource, so you don't want to do that. With the curse ended, now I need to get the blessing of the monk, so I need to get 13 coins and the shrine. And because I don't have a coin upgrade, which are the storeroom and the aquarium, the ones I could get, this is not going to be as fast as it could be. So the best way to do this, I think that you could get the treasure trove, but there are 2 problems with that. The first problem is I need to king on black for the treasure trove, and with the treasure trove plus the common rooms that I have, I am 1 coin away from getting 13, which is what I need. So I also don't have the guy's bedroom, which is the problem. If you had the guy's bedroom, you just get the dice very quickly, but because I have the boudoir, I can't get the dice quickly, and I'm using the king on black, so I can't use the king for the boudoir. So instead what I do is I'm going for a blue king strategy. There are a lot of blue rooms that can spawn money. The pantry is a very easy one, but then if I get the Rampus room, now that's 8 more coins, and that gets me there. And of course having blue and office is another option, and because I drafted the conference room, I know exactly where the money is going to end up, so I can just go to the conference room and get money. This is a fairly consistent strategy to get money, but it's not as fast as if you just drafted a treasure trove and then the necessary rooms. And because it's blue, you also get the increased chance to get shrine, so it's like 75% chance to get shrine just because you have blue, and also you can get a die in a closet or a study for basically more rerolls. So it's a fairly consistent strategy, just not the fastest one that you can get. But if you don't have a good upgrade, this is what you have to do, basically. Or you just gamble on shrine showing up and you just treasure trove and you just hope for something that's kind of high rolling. But I try not to do it in this run, and generally in any long run in Blueprints I try not to take risky lines like that, because the game finds a lot of ways to screw you over, basically. So there's no reason for you to play risky if you don't need to. That's usually my approach for these runs. Consistency is king, basically. That's my philosophy. So yeah, here I think I got off this finally. This actually took longer than it should have, honestly. Especially Rampus room not showing up for this long. It's kind of annoying. I can also get money from the gallery, but I need to solve the paintings, and it takes a very long time to do that. So ideally I just want to skip that if possible. It does give you 2 gems, which could be useful on the final day, because the final day is very tricky. But again, it takes a very long time, so if you can skip it, it's just a nice time save to have, to just not do it. So yeah, I get office finally. This took way too long. I really should not have taken this long to get money. But yeah, that's also why the blessing strategy is useful. Although this one is for blessing of the monk. So yeah, if you just have the goldfish aquarium or the storeroom upgrade, you just get this almost instantly and you save so much time. Yeah, those upgrades and the guy's bedroom upgrade are just really useful. And if you have the guy's bedroom upgrade, you can actually just... Yeah, you can put the king on black, you get the treasure trove, you get the money, and you also get the dice, so you draft shrine and monk the treasure trove on the same day. Because I'm doing it this way, I need to get the blessing, then I need to spend another day drafting the treasure trove and monking it. It's not that big of a deal because 3 days of blessing happen to be enough to do it. But it could have been... Like, it's just much more convenient when you have the guy's bedroom. Also, another way to do this would be to get the blessing of the monk, which happens to be 13 coins. And then in a future day, you can put the king on shop rooms, get the unholy gift shop, and because you have guy's bedroom, you just get the 2 dice, and then you guarantee shrine. You steal the 13 coins, you get the cursed coffers. That way, all of these are ways that you can play that if you have guy's bedroom, they just become extremely consistent and fast. Because I have the worst of the 2 dice upgrades. I don't have that luxury, and I have to play in this way. I got a Mount Holy gift shop here, which is very stupid. That should not have happened. And I actually tried to make use of it for a bit, but then I realized that I don't need to do this because there is a better way to buy the curse coffers, which I'm going to do now. Instead, I just monk the treasure trove, which I happen to get very quickly, which is nice. The thing with Black King is that there are not that many black rooms. It's just aquarium, trove, and if you have throne room, that also gives you throne room. So it's very easy to get the one you want fairly quickly. Now that I monk the treasure trove, the idea is that the treasure trove in the outer room is going to give me 10 coins. So I'm going to go into the house first. I'm going to put the king on yellow on the shops. So I'm going to get the Mount Holy gift shop now. And after I get the Mount Holy gift shop, I can do the treasure trove thing. So I need to go back into the chest area and grab the Aries key, or the black key as I call it. But because I have the treasure trove guaranteed, I can actually get the money from there. And that's how... That was the plan that I basically came up with for getting the curse coffers after the blessing strategy failed. Here I got a mailroom. This mailroom can actually come in handy for the final day, where I need to get the blue crown. So I was actually trying to get another coin, because I need one more coin at this point to reach 13 with the treasure trove money included. But I got that mailroom. I was like, yeah, sure, that mailroom should be useful. I could also try to get... Actually, no, not this day. I was going to say morning room, but I actually have one more day to go. So yeah, now that I have enough money, I can just do this thing here. So now I'm going back into the chest area and picking up the black key. This is also why you need the blue flames, because if you try to do the tomb route, you can actually go through the tomb to get to this area. But because you need to come here so often, the fact that you need tomb for all of these days just makes this inconvenient. So blue flames, I think, are basically mandatory, even though in theory they are slow because this elevator takes forever. I think blue flames are just basically mandatory. I don't see a universe where the route becomes so optimized that the blue flames get skipped. Unless it's a tool-assisted run, of course. If it's a tool-assisted run, you can just do it. Or a segmented run. There is a segmented run that gets this in 3 days. But I don't... In a speedrun context, in a single session, that's never happening. And even if it happens, I doubt it's going to be faster than this run because you have to think so much. So yeah, I solved the clock puzzle. It's fairly easy because it's always the same thing. And I have the key in hand. Now I can just draft the treasure trove and get the scepter. So this run, I did it on patch 1.6. And I think for future patches, the way that the scepter works might get reworked a bit. So the way it works now, as I'm commentating this and when I made this run, is that basically you pick a color, and if you end the day on a room of that color, you keep the scepter for future days, but you don't keep the conditioner filter. So basically now I'm going to pick the blue color because I need the blue color for ascending the throne. If you don't have the blue color, the throne ascension doesn't work. It needs to be specifically the blue one. And so I need to pick the blue one. But if I pick the blue one now, it applies the blue conditional filter as if I had the blue king. And it coexists with the yellow one. But because there are so many blue rooms, it's going to block everything. So that's why I needed to drop the Mount Holy Gift Shop first. Because if I pick this up first and then I try to drop Mount Holy Gift Shop, it's just not going to show up. So I pick the scepter now, and then I use the money to buy the coffers. And I need to make sure to end the day in a blue room, so that I can keep the scepter for future days, and that's going to be nice for making sure that I don't need to draft treasure trove on the final day, because the final day is very difficult to pull off, and just being able to not having to draft. If you have to draft an additional room on top of everything else that you need to get, it's just adding more pressure into an already difficult thing, and that's why you want to keep the treasure trove in your inventory if possible. So that's why in future patches of the game, I don't know how this is going to work. I think there's an idea that the way you keep the scepter between days is going to be different, basically. But now, even though I kept the scepter, I don't keep the filter, so there's no way for me to get a color filter now with the scepter, which is fine. I don't need it because I'm using the King's Power anyways. So this segment, if you look at my splits, this one is called Berry Picker, and it's for a reason. I'm going to set up a Blessing of the Berry Picker, and this is completely optional, but it's going to help for consistency, because again, the final day is very difficult to do, and the Blessing of the Berry Picker is ideal for what I want to do, and I will explain why soon. The Blessing of the Berry Picker requires 15 coins. It's the most expensive blessing of the 8 that you have, and once again, because I don't have a coin upgrade, I'm just going to have to use this Blue King strategy and just hope that I get Rampus from our office quickly, and that's going to give me enough money. And annoyingly, once again, the 2 rooms that I needed decided not to show up, which is not nice, but whatever. It's not that slow. It just takes a little bit longer, and I forgot what I was going to... Oh yeah, and I want to set up, ideally I also want to set up a morning room as well. Like if I can draft a morning room on this day, I can start the next day with 2 extra gems, and yeah, anything I can get for the next day is useful in general. It's also at the end of the run, so I'm trying to maximize consistency at this point. I'm just playing very safe. I lost a lot of runs to the final day. Some runs that were even faster than this one. A little bit faster at least. This is one of my best runs, I think. So yeah, here I get office. At this point I have the money, but I'm trying to get a morning room, like I said. So if I draft here from the office, I can't actually get morning room, because morning room you can only get it if you draft on the west wing. It needs to be going up, and if you draft on the east wing, it needs to be going down. So this orientation doesn't work for the morning room, so I try to go around this way. Again, I get a chapel, which is weird. I don't know why I decided to take a study here. I do remember why, but it's probably not necessary. The reason why I took a study is because I wanted an extra reroll, because even though having one die is supposed to guarantee that they get a shrine because of the Blue King, there's a weird interaction because I have a monk mailroom or something, and because of the way it works, I think the monk room can override one of the rooms that you're supposed to get from the blue filter. And I think I was concerned that it was going to take the spot of the shrine. I think the shrine was guaranteed anyways, but I wasn't sure. I think that's why I took the study instead of the billiard room, which I could have used to get to the morning room. Basically, that was the idea. That I just get to the west wing and I get a morning room. But yeah, instead I just do this, and I think that I get the shrine anyways. So okay, so why do we want the berry picker? The idea for the berry picker is that when you make a draft, you get 3 rooms offered to you, and then you can draft one of the 3 rooms, or you can pick the berry. And the way that the berry works is that it makes a separate draft. Like it discards the 3 rooms that you drafted, and then you draft 3 new rooms, and those rooms are drafted using library logic, so you get more. You just get a bunch of rare rooms and unusual rooms, but also the berry picker drafts are using they draft more expensive rooms. So basically, you are getting rare rooms that are also very expensive. And do you know which room is very rare and also very expensive? It's the throne room. So the idea here is I'm trying to get the throne room for free, basically, instead of having to pay 5 gems. Because you could use the king on black and get the throne room fairly easily. The problem is the gem cost. And the problem is that you are left with... I need to get the blue crown on this day as well, because it's faster. So here I picked my first berry. I got kind of unlucky with the first one. I got a treasure trove, which is not at all a useful one, and it's not even an expensive one. The second one was nice because I didn't get the throne room, but I got a trophy room instead. And the trophy room, of course, I just got 8 gems for free, which is amazing. And I only have 1 more berry to pick. If I don't get the throne room, I can do the king power on black to get the throne room, and because I got a trophy room, I just have so many gems that it doesn't matter. But if you don't use the berry strat, affording 5 gems from a throne room is just very annoying. You can actually draft the throne room, but then you're stuck with 0, and you're kind of screwed because you still need to get to the antechamber as well for the blue crown. And because you also use the king on black, you don't have a good king's power to use to get an antechamber lever. Either the orange one or the blue one, you just don't have a good king's power, and then you just need to luck into an antechamber lever, and there's a decent chance that you just don't get it. So if you can get the berry strat to work to give you a throne room, it's just very convenient. And so here I'm picking my last berry, and I do actually get the throne room here, which is nice. And immediately when I get the throne room, I put the king banner on blue. And I picked blue here instead of orange because I also want to get the code check, because if you remember from an hour ago, I put the sledgehammer in the code check, and this is where ideally I get the blue crown from the room 46, the code check for the sledgehammer, and the shrine, and I get the effigy, and I can actually just complete the run by having all of the items. I have the scepter that I carried over, and I get the effigy and the crown, and I have the throne room drafted. The very nice thing for the throne room is that it has a north lever, and because of the north lever here, I don't need to go underground. So that's the main improvement of this route, because what I used to do in the past was I used to get a moon pendant, and then I would get the crown in a separate day, and I would keep the crown with the moon pendant, but that's slower because you need to go underground again to get the crown, and then you're doing a separate day to get the crown, and then you need a separate day for ascending the throne. So this route is much faster, but without the berry picker blessing, it's just very inconsistent. With this strategy for the berry picker, I think it's much more consistent, because even if you don't get throne room, you usually get some good rooms, like the trophy room in these games. The attic is another one that you can get, and you can get like secret garden key in the attic or something. Music room as well. So here I'm just drafting this way. I drafted the workshop for a mechanical room for Mechanarium. and I'm hoping to get either a secret garden key from the room's billiards music room or attic, or I get a good mechanarium. So here I get a music room going north, which is fantastic, and here I made a pretty not a stupid mistake, but it's a pretty big mistake. So this door is unlocked, so I can't use the secret garden. But the way that locked doors work in this game is that once you find an unlocked door, the next door is more likely to be locked, and vice versa. So here I should have opened the other door first, because the last door I picked was already locked, and that was very stupid that I opened the wrong door, and that's something I 100% should have known. And so what happens here is that I can't... Now I gotta study here, and I have so many gems, so I basically should win here. But when I open this door, it's not locked, and so now I ran out of space to put the secret garden. So now my plan now, here I'm stuttering because I realized that I fucked up, and my plan now is I'm going to go to the east wing because I left a door open from the chapel at the beginning, and I'm going to try to go to the east wing and draft a secret garden from that side instead. So that's the plan, but that should have been avoided if I just got the secret garden key in rank 8 there. I also could have done something much more aggressive, which was to try to re-roll from the dining room for mechanarium. But because I also need the code check as well, I decided to play safe and just maximize the amount of rooms that I can draft by going back here. It's just like a 1 minute backtrack or something, which is significant time loss, but I also wanted to secure that I finished the run. I even did the billiards here, which probably didn't need to. Just hoping that I get more keys. And I get the mechanarium here without even needing to reroll. And I happen to have just the right amount of mechanical rooms to get the lever, so this just secures that I get the anti-chamber lever. And now I just need the code check, and I basically guarantee a win with the code check, because I have so many rerolls anyways, and I could just start rerolling for it, but I took the walk-in closet for more resources. And here I think I get a nuke, and I'm like, okay, I want to take another key just in case. I don't think I needed to. I could have just started rerolling there. So at this point I'm like, okay, I'm going to reroll for the code check, and I just get it in the first draw. So I'm just left with 14 rerolls that I never used. But yeah, at this point I have everything. I just need to go back into the dining room and to the dining room area and get into the antechamber to get the crown, and then I can backtrack once again for the effigy, and then I can finish the run. It's important that the throne room is close to the entrance hall, because when you draft the shrine and you get the effigy, it sets your steps to 13, so you need to be able to reach the throne room at the end. If you don't have the throne room closed, you need to have some sort of backup, like either having the dining room closed or having the bacon and eggs from the morning room, something. Here I just take whatever because I have a key card, so I don't care about security doors. And yeah, I have so many rerolls that the odds of me not getting there were astronomically low, but I didn't even need to reroll anything. And at this point it's just again running from A to B. Everything in difficulty is done. No more explanations, just going from one side to the other. I ate the dinner here just in case, and I think if I didn't do this I would have one step left at the end, so I could have actually skipped this, but it would be a very stupid risk to take, so I didn't do it. I also didn't really count. I kind of assumed I didn't have enough, and I actually did have enough. I also could have gotten a 40-step lab experiment, so that was another option. But eating in the dining room is faster and also more consistent, because even with the strategy I mentioned earlier, the laboratory experiments are not 100% consistent. So yeah, I'm very happy with this time. I get a 151 here, a high 151. You can probably save up to 10 minutes maybe with like some really good energy and really possibly some more aggressive routing, like especially during the chess split. Like you can play it a lot faster. In the glitch run, the chess times are a lot faster. But for now, I'm happy with this time, and probably this is where I'm going to leave it for now, unless there's some major strategy breakthrough that happens. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. I never did one for blueprints like this and for such a long run, so tell me if you enjoyed it and if you like to see another one. See ya.
Steady is the scepter. Deadly is the stone. Heavy is the crown. Ready is the throne.